What do you write after you've been arrested, tortured, and thrown out of politics? Niccolò Machiavelli wrote a job application disguised as a book called The Prince. In the next few minutes, the fall of a republic, a meeting with a warlord, a staged execution, a comedian's side hustle, and the letter that reveals his soul. Ready to see how a clerk became the voice of power? Before the Medici ever return, Machiavelli is a rising official of the Florentine Republic. 14 years at a desk and on the road, organizing a citizen army, drafting reports, advising leaders. He's not a noble. He's a civil servant who believes a city can be run by its citizens. His office? The beating heart of Renaissance Florence. Then comes the fieldwork, dangerous, absurd, unforgettable. As a diplomat, he's sent to Cesare Borgia, the most formidable strongman in Italy. In one city, Borgia leaves his lieutenant's body in the square as a message. Order has been restored. Machiavelli doesn't flinch. He takes notes. Later he'll write, "There are few better lessons que a new ruler." Back home, he pushes a radical fix for Italy's mercenary problem. Pay farmers, drill citizens, retire the sellswords. Florence forms a militia, and for a time, it works. Disciplined ranks in the piazza. He even helps oversee an ambitious plan to reroute the Arno River to box in Florence's enemies. Politics, engineering, military science, he's in all of it. 1512. The Medici family returns with Spanish troops. The Republic falls overnight. Doors that once opened for Machiavelli now slam shut. To the new regime, anyone tied to the old government looks suspicious, especially the man who hired militias and wrote blunt memos. A plot against the Medici is uncovered. Names surface in seized letters, and Machiavelli's is among them. Guilt by correspondence. He's hauled away. No courtroom theatrics, just the cold mechanics of a power shift. Interrogation follows. The rope and police strappado stretches his shoulders, but yields no confession. There isn't one to give. After weeks, he's released, but banished from politics. The city falls silent behind him as he heads for a small farm outside Florence. Career in ashes. Exile has a rhythm. By day, he plays dice with local farmers at a roadside inn. By evening, he washes, changes, and sits down at his desk. He writes to friends that in these hours he enters the courts of the ancients, speaking with Livy and Tacitus across the centuries. The pay is zero. The ideas, priceless. Out of this routine comes a bold gambit, the Prince. He shapes a slim, unsentimental manual for power and dedicates it to the Medici. A not-so-subtle hire me. A messenger rides off with the manuscript. Silence answers. No summons, no office, not even a desk in the corner. But the pages crackle. A ruler, he argues, must learn how not to be good when survival is at stake. Better feared than loved if you must choose. But above all, appear virtuous while you do what necessity requires. He describes how Borgia pacified a violent province, then publicly executed the very man who did the dirty work to win the people's favor. Politics as theater, engineered emotion centuries before anyone calls it public relations. He files other dispatches from the front lines of power. On a mission to Pope Julius II, the warrior pope, he watches armor out-argue diplomacy. Julius charges ahead and succeeds because bold timing beats careful plans. Machiavelli notes it dryly. Fortune loves audacity. And he's no simple cheerleader for princes. In the Discourses, he praises republics, citizen armies, laws over men, checks on power. He writes a military treatise, The Art of War, and body comedies like the Mandrake that pack theaters with laughter. Officially banned from office, he still haunts the edges of public life, begging friends for any task, even to push papers. Eventually, he's asked to write the Florentine histories. It's work, but not the work he wants. The last chapter of The Prince turns prophetic, a plea to drive foreign armies from Italy and unify the peninsula. 3 centuries early, he imagines a country that doesn't yet exist. The Medici don't take up the call. He dies in 1527, just as Florence's politics spin again, leaving behind a toolkit that future leaders and critics both study. So what do we do with Machiavelli? He didn't invent ruthlessness. He described the machinery. A fired public servant, a playwright with a sharp grin, a patriot who loved republics yet wrote for princes. He turned bruises into ideas that still spark debate. Fear and love, masks and necessity, theater and power. Enjoyed learning with us? Why not subscribe for more theater of history?